Maybe a simple question when it comes just about the activism. Is it working?
There's no easy answer to that. So are the people who are throwing food, are the people who are slow walking and gluing, is that working? Well, it's working because it is getting attention. It is drawing criticism for sure. But as I've talked about in some places, that is nothing new for social movements. Social movements usually are quite unpopular before they are successful. So we shouldn't expect them to be popular, right? If it was super popular, then the policies would just happen because everybody would agree with it. In addition to the shockers whom we talked about, and those are the soup throwers and a lot of the folks who are doing these performative actions to get media attention, there are talk about other groups that are engaging in civil disobedience right now, whom I call the disruptors. And the disruptors are different in that they use nonviolent civil disobedience to get attention, but it's part of a broader, what we call in my world, a repertoire of contention, or part of a broader campaign, right? So a good example of this would be the folks who are engaging in the divestment movement. They're trying to divest, a lot of students are trying to divest their schools from fossil fuels. So they work to lobby their schools. They work to get general support from the student body. They work to get the faculty to be on board to push from the inside to get the school to stop making money off of fossil fuels. And then every once in a while, they'll take a moment and have, an action which is, nonviolent. It probably involves civil disobedience. It might be a banner, what do they call it? A banner unfurling, or it could be, occupying a building, or, there are some other interesting examples of stopping like sporting events where the students all draw attention and they're using it to draw attention to this broader campaign. So it's not just about drawing attention to, to a small action, but rather part of a campaign. And so the disruptors kind of embed it more. And so those are the two different sides. And the disruptors also work more like we were talking about. They work as both insiders and outsiders, right? When you're doing nonviolent civil disobedience, you're doing it outside the political system, right? You're basically trying to occupy a space and draw attention to something that's not getting enough attention, in your opinion, within the political system and within the economic system. But we do also see a lot of folks who are working through the political system to try to get more policies on the books around the world that will expand clean energy use, push for a just transition, push for a Green New Deal. We see that in Europe and the United States, trying to limit fossil fuel consumption in many different ways. So that's within the system. But the other thing that's interesting and within the system is there are all of these efforts now through the legal system, right? The judicial system in many parts of the world. We saw a recent decision in Switzerland, and there are many, many cases that are ongoing coming from citizens pushing through the judicial system. So that's also working within the system instead of outside of, but that's the judicial system to make social change. So people can do all these different things as members of civil society, as, citizens or non-citizens, to get attention and push for the types of changes that are needed. So it's not just these folks who are engaging in what we call the radical flank. There's a whole system. And that's why I say we're in a moment of all hands on deck, right? You do not need to be blocking traffic or throwing food to support a clean energy transition and to push us to make our way through the climate crisis in a way that is the least damaging to the general public. There's so many different things you can do. So that's what I hope you get out of the book, is that there is not a one-size-fit-all way of doing activism or engaging to stop the climate crisis.